And welcome back, everybody. Told you it was going to be a quick break. We want to go ahead now, while we still have some time, and get to our conversation with Madlyn Buursma and Katherine Wilkison, two members of our incredible digital team that have been working to bring us things that we need to remember from 2025 as far as the business sector is concerned, and also what to keep an eye out for in 2026. Well, happy New Year's, everybody, and welcome back to the Daily 8 right here. We are now being joined by our very own Madlyn Buursma and Katherine Wilkison, who have worked on some pretty great and really important stories, not only capping off 2025, but also getting us ready for 2026. Katherine and Madlyn, thank you both so much for stopping by today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. You know, Madlyn, I want to start off because you kind of spearheaded a lot of these stories, and we want to begin talking about some of the new laws that people here in Michigan need to be aware of as they are getting started in 2026. There are 6 in particular that they need to be aware of. What are those 6, and when can we maybe start expecting those to be going into effect this year?
Yeah, so one of the big ones, of course, is the minimum wage increase. That increased again this year. It increased from $12.48 to $13.73 an hour. And that started right away on January 1st. The tip minimum wage also increased to $5.49 an hour. Another big thing for like waitresses and other tipped workers is that there are no taxes on tips.
Big story from 2025.
Yes, yeah. So big. If you're a waitress, that's great for you. With alongside a new federal cut on tip taxes for those making up to $150,000 a year, tipped workers in Michigan can expect to save up to $1,500 per year on their taxes. Wow. So nice chunk of money there.
Right.
Another big thing is the new 24% marijuana tax. That's a new wholesale marijuana excise tax, started January 1st, and that's on top of the state's existing 10% tax and 6% sales tax. So if you go to a marijuana store, can probably expect to see higher prices in this year.
Right. No, and again, that was another thing that we've been really talking about, especially towards the end of 2025, just as a lot of these dispensaries are getting ready and trying to get everything in place for that increase in the tax. And the money there is supposedly going towards fixing the roads here in Michigan. So again, that was something that Gretchen Whitmer, the governor, obviously wanted to emphasize when signing the new tax into law as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it will go straight to roads. So you might see some fixed potholes with your marijuana money there.
Hopefully. And one other law, again, all of these topics that we're going to be discussing can be found right now over on our website, woodtv.com, a little bit more in depth, obviously, with some of those laws. Again, there are 6 in that story. One other one, it's going to be popping up here in just a little bit in this B-roll, I should say, and that is all about, yes, there it is, the new license plate, red, white, and blue license plate. People can go ahead and grab those as well. Again, do have more links for that over on our website, woodtv.com. Again, really cool license plate. I think, honestly, Michigan's got a pretty great lineup of some license plates, some specialty ones, and even some of the regular ones. Pretty gorgeous to look at there.
For sure. And that new one, it's actually a retro one that they're bringing back.
Oh, really?
For the country's 250th anniversary. Perfect. So a fun throwback there.
Wonder if anybody has the original one there and can kind of compare how they look back in the day.
That'd be cool. There's probably some in some dad's like workshop or something.
Right, absolutely. All right, well, Madlyn, another one is all about the new developments. Like, you've been on top of it all year long, really looking at all of the new things coming to West Michigan. And again, you've laid out 10 to keep an eye on here in 2026 as well.
For sure. And of course, the big one this year is the Acrisure Amphitheater.
Yes.
That's set to open in downtown Grand Rapids this May. So very exciting project there. Some other big ones to keep an eye on. The Amway Stadium, that is set to open in the spring 2027. Of course, that'll be bringing soccer to downtown Grand Rapids. Some other big ones to keep an eye on. The Kalamazoo Event Center, construction on that is underway, and that is also set to open in 2027. A lot of these are set to open in 2027. So lots of openings next year. Some other ones farther down the line, John Ball Zoo Aquarium, keep an eye on that. And then, of course, data centers is going to be a big topic of conversation again this year. There's projects that could be coming to Gaines Township, Dorr Township, Lowell Township. So that's going to be one of the big things people will be talking about this year in 2026.
And again, I'm glad you mentioned it, Madlyn, that a lot of these developments, they may not actually be completed in 2026. It may be a later date, but you're going to be seeing a lot of construction, a lot of planning, a lot of new developments regarding these plan proposals and new things coming to West Michigan. So again, just something to keep in mind there.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I want to bring Katherine in now and talk about this next story because it's all about layoffs. Again, a little bit more of a more serious topic. You helped out a big time with this story, Katherine, just kind of compiling all of the data. If you check out that story over on our website, you can kind of see all the different graphs that really explain what we've been seeing in West Michigan a little bit more. Katherine, when you were kind of gathering all that data and then putting it into these maps and different graphs, I mean, it looks pretty complicated. Would you mind kind of peeling back the curtain a little bit and kind of just discuss what it was like, or what your process was in sort of adding that to the story, and again, kind of amplifying the importance of this story and giving people, again, another way to take in all the information?
Yeah, so Madlyn really started off doing the hard part by actually doing the FOIA request, requesting all this data from the Michigan state government. So all the data that we have in this story is based off of something called a WARN notice. So there's certain criteria that require a company to tell the state government that they're going to be laying off employees. So that includes factory closures or layoffs over like 50 employees. So this does not include every single layoff across the state, but it does include a pretty big swath of it. So we actually got the data dating all the way back to 2000. So we looked at 25 years of data. This data in the story goes back to 2015. So as you can see, obviously COVID in 2020 was a huge peak. That was the greatest number of layoffs we've seen since 2008 in the Great Recession. But now we're going back up. So we can see that even as the layoffs have gone down across Michigan between 2024 and 2025, they actually went up in West Michigan. Not a huge amount, but they did go up somewhat to about 1,900. And then we also took a look at that by county. So we broke that down to see per 10,000 residents, so to make it fair, not just smaller counties being sort of counted out, that we actually found that small rural counties were the most affected, were disproportionately affected by these layoffs. So St. Joseph County down in southwest Michigan was actually affected the most. It saw almost 50 layoffs per 10,000 residents, with almost 300 layoffs. And that was a result of about 2 factories mostly closing. So that's a loss of a significant number of jobs in that rural area.
Well, and of course, anytime anybody hears the word layoffs, and whether it's in a headline for a story or maybe just in passing or on a newscast, that's something that kind of gets your ears ringing a little bit. So again, a lot of important information in that story, and you guys obviously spent a lot of time not just on all of those data sets, but then also kind of during your interviews and just gathering all the information. I mean, what, if anything, can you really take away from just what we saw in 2025 and really what we've been kind of seeing over the past 25 years since that's when you guys really first started looking at all that data? What can you really take away from that story?
I think one thing that is important to note is that a lot of businesses are stopping the practice of labor hoarding. So during 2020, of course, there were worker shortages. Employers were having a hard time finding more employees, and so they were not laying off people in instances where they maybe would have in normal instances. They're starting to stop that. We're expecting to see more layoffs in 2026 because of that. And so that's an important thing to keep in mind as we're comparing the data to 2020 and seeing that slight uptick in this past year in West Michigan.
Katherine, anything else that you can kind of take away from it? Obviously, a lot of information to kind of go through with this.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that we saw as a driving factor of layoffs was not just people getting laid off from factories that are staying open. In fact, it's a lot of closures and acquisitions that are driving these layoffs. So as we saw, there were a number of large acquisitions in West Michigan, Steelcase, among others. That was what drove a lot of the layoffs in St. Joseph County. So that's definitely something to look out for, not just laying off employees and keeping the factory open, but shutting them down entirely or having them be bought up. All
right, well, how about we kind of switch things up a little bit and get back on a more positive trend here with this conversation, Katherine and Madlyn. There are some things to be looking forward to, specifically with concerts coming to Grand Rapids. There are a lot of big names. I'm going to name off just a few that people can check out right now. We've got a full list, not just of those acts coming to the Acrisure Amphitheater, but really all across West Michigan. Just to name a few: Nine Inch Nails, Lionel Richie, Journey, Meghan Trainor, 5 Seconds of Summer, Leonard Skinner, and Foreigner all in one night, the Goo Goo Dolls, and then you've got a really awesome night coming up in later in the fall. You've got Toto with Christopher Cross and the Romantics, all a pretty big night there. Again, pretty great to see all of these big names coming to Grand Rapids. You don't necessarily have to go to Detroit or Chicago even to see some of these acts. They're coming right here to West Michigan.
Yeah, so excited, especially with the opening of the Acrisure Amphitheater. It gives more opportunities to bring big acts to Grand Rapids in the West Michigan area. So very exciting year for concert fans in West Michigan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and even if you're maybe not a fan of these, you know somebody who is a fan of some of these acts. So definitely something to check out there for anybody. And again, it's just great to know, especially, we're dealing with the winter right now. Once the weather gets a little bit better, the amphitheater opens up. That's going to be a really awesome place to check out some acts, including another act that I'm very excited about, that John Mulaney stand-up show. He's going to have Nick Kroll, Fred Armisen, Mike Birbiglia. That's going to be a really awesome show. Any shows coming up in 2026 that you guys have circled, whether we've named them or not?
Well, I'm excited for the Lionel Richie concert because that's the first one at the Acrisure Amphitheater. It's going to be the grand opening act in that venue, so that's going to be really exciting to see, and to see the project we've watched be built over the past couple of years finally come alive with music, so that'll be exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Phil, maybe I'll see you there at the John Mulaney show. Definitely would be interested to see him. He actually went to the same college as me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, maybe if you guys ever were able to interact a little bit, you guys could have that conversation.
Yeah.
So again, really excited about all the new things coming to West Michigan. And as a reminder to everybody, if you would like to know any more information about some of the topics we discussed today, you can find all of that right now over on our website, woodtv.com. Katherine and Madlyn, thank you both so much for stopping by today. We so do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.